Chapter 4 of Political Science. This chapter deals with social movements and their political implications. First, I would like to quote, as Karl Marx said, "Unite the workers of the world. You are going to lose the shackles of the slavery, but nothing else." Now, what does this mean? Karl Marx is considered as the father of communism. He is a socialist thinker and a philosopher. He tells the working class people to gather together to overcome the inequalities, the atrocities against the workers by the capitalists. There has been a class struggle during old times. There was two sections of society, the haves and the have-nots. The haves are the capitalists who own the property. Have-nots are the workers who work for the wages what they get. This is what Karl Marx meant when he said, unite. He said, if all the worker class unites together, then they will remove the slavery what they are facing. It is this differences because the capitalists have been keeping the major share and the benefits or the profits, whereas the worker class or the have-nots are being paid minimum wages for all the work what they have done. Social movements is not new to our society. It has been there since the 6th century BC. Social movements are necessary to eradicate many problems like atrocity, inequality, exploitation. The working class should get equality, they should enjoy civil rights, they should have freedom. Hence, agitation is the need of the hour. There is a common goal, and to achieve that, the people have to organize themselves together and then agitate to get their rights. In this chapter, we need to understand the causes of social movements. This, when we understand, in fact, it will be an instigation to the youngsters so that they stop and put an end to the atrocity in a democratic way. They will fight any injustice or any inequality. This highlights that being within the norms of the Constitution, they can achieve their goals. There are a few people who have fought for the caste-based discrimination, like Buddha, Kanakadasa, Jyotiba Phule, Periyar, Basavana, M.K. Gandhi, Dr. Ambedkar. All the above have fought for this cause. They have adopted many new systems. Baba Saheb Ambedkar organized and educated the depressed and the oppressed classes, like scheduled class, scheduled tribe, and the other backward classes, by following democratic principles. Dr. Ambedkar gave a call to the depressed classes. He said, educate, organize, and agitate. He said, have faith in yourselves, people of the depressed classes. Have faith in yourselves. And he said, inculcate necessary strength to fight against injustice. Students, remember, this also can be asked as a 1 mark or a 2 mark question. What is the call given by Dr. Ambedkar? The call given by Ambedkar was to educate, organize, and agitate. He said, first educate yourselves, then organize into groups in an organized manner, then agitate. At the same time, he also said, have faith in yourself. He said, inculcate the necessary strength to fight against injustice. All the problems of the Dalits are because of lack of education. He said, organize, all of you all come together, all of you all when you all work together, all of you all when you are together can achieve a change in the society. To bring in a change in the society, you have to agitate. You have to oppose certain issues. Hence, when you believe in yourself, all this is possible. India is a multi-religious country. Groups like Dalit, backward classes, peasants, laborers, feminists, human rights activists, and environmentalists are continuing their agitation in a democratic way. All these groups have different sets of problems. They have to organize and agitate. Hence, they have to understand their problems and fight for themselves in a democratic way. Our Constitution protects the rights for us and also provides a golden remedy for the problems of the nation. Our Constitution has mentioned a few fundamental rights for all of us people. And these fundamental rights protect us, or protect our rights. That is, no other individual or groups can deny another of these basic fundamental rights. But a suitable machinery is required to implement them in a proper way. Yes, a suitable machinery here, we mean a group of people who are going to sincerely work in favor of the people, to give them equality, to stop atrocities on the worker class. Hence, this suitable machinery we require by way of social movements. Hence, we have different groups fighting for their demands through different movements. Here we need to understand that the social movements have been started by different people in different places at different times. And all these different groups have been fighting for their demands as they have come together and agitate together. Earlier days, we started off with the Varna system, or we call it as the Varnashrama Dharma. The Varnashrama Dharma was categorized on the basis of work into 4 types: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This Varna system was based on karma, or on the work what an individual did. Let us take up Brahmana. The Brahmana is considered as he is born from the mouth of God. That is the reason why they can chant the mantras. They are highly knowledgeable. They are priests. They are eligible to get education. Why? Because they are born from the mouth of God. And they are considered knowledgeable. Now coming to the second one, Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are born from the arms of God. They have a lot of willpower. They are strong. They are warriors. They can fight. Hence, they are Kshatriyas. The third one, the Vaishyas. Vaishyas are born from the thighs of God. They are the business people. They become the business class. Vaishyas are money-making people. Vaishyas know how to make profit. That is why Vaishyas become the business class. The last one, the Shudras, are born from the feet of God. Shudras are born from the feet of God. Hence, they are servants to all the above 3. Hence, they are servants to all the above 3, that is, Brahmana, Kshatriya and the Vaishya. These Shudras are further divided into 2. One is the touchables or the backward classes. Another, untouchables or the Dalits. Later on, this became a rigid and a complex system. The Dalits were facing socio-economic, political oppression and suppression. This strata of society was called as Dalit. And these Dalits were divided further as Adi Karnataka, Adi Dravida, Adi Andhra, Adi Jambava, Adi Meher. Birth became the criteria to identify one's caste. Over the centuries, they were not even allowed to appear in front of the Hindus. Birth, if a child is born to a Brahmin family, he would become a Brahmin, he would become a priest, whether he has the capability or not. A child born to a Kshatriya will become a Kshatriya, will become a warrior, will become a fighter, whether he has the capacity or not. That means to say, birth became the criteria to identify one's caste. This went on for many centuries, and these Shudras were not allowed to appear in front of the Hindus. But their services were utilized. The services of the Dalits were made use of. Dalits were not allowed to use the public utilities like ponds, wells and temples. Many reformers criticized this caste system, and they struggled hard to create awareness to eradicate the evil in the Indian society. This inhuman situation led many philosophers and reformers to struggle hard to create awareness to eradicate the evils in the Indian society. And finally, these reforms laid the foundation of Dalit emancipation. This foundation was laid by the following personalities, because these people dedicated their lives to the cause of eradicating this evil, and they wanted Dalit emancipation only. Gopal Swami Iyer, Kudumal Rangarao, Ram Manohar Lohia, Baba Amte, Kanshiram, Professor B. Krishna. Now let us learn the causes for the Dalit movement. Remember, students, this will be a 5 marks question. They will ask you, what are the causes for Dalit movement? The first cause is social injustice. Next, economic inequality. Third, discrimination. Fourth, lack of awareness. 5, political backwardness. Now let us take up the first one, social injustice. All of us are born equal, but man-made inequalities exist in India due to caste system. There is no equal treatment. There are no equal opportunities. But exploitation was rampant in society. All of us, when we are born equal, the same red blood flows in all of us, and the inequalities which are man-made has been created, and this has led to the caste system. There is a need to get justice for the downtrodden, and to get legitimate rights and opportunities, people came together. All of them fought against injustice. This was one of the causes for a social movement. The second one is economic inequality. Economic inequality. What is the meaning of economic inequality? Unequal distribution of the economic resources of the society. When the economic resources are distributed unequally amongst all the people in the society, or discrimination is made between the haves and the have-nots. Have-nots are the proletariats, the worker class. Haves are the owners of property. They are the capitalists. They own the properties. They own their companies. And they want the have-nots or the worker class or the proletariats to come and work for them. But the profits divided goes, the more or the bigger share goes to the haves or to the capitalists. Man is selfish by nature. We have been learning this from the first chapter of our first PUC class. Man is selfish by nature Hence, he did not divide anything equally. Hence, one section of society enjoyed the economic benefits, whereas it was not made available to the have-nots or to another section of society. The Dalits worked in the lands of the Hindus. They were not given a proper share. Hence, agitation was the result. The Dalits worked for the lands owned by the Hindus, but they were not given the proper share. Hence, they had to agitate. Third one, discrimination. You can find discriminations of one society, that is the upper class, over the lower class system, which is common in all walks of life, which means to say the differences between the upper class and the lower class in a society can be found in all walks of life. Ambedkar, a Dalit, he is born to a Maher community. He was not allowed into temples, ponds, tanks, etc. He faced a lot of inequality. For example, Ambedkar was not allowed to go to schools and learn. He was made to sit in the corner of a classroom and just listen to the teacher. He in fact had to bring a sack full of sand, keep it in the corner of the classroom, sit over it, and when he goes back, he had to take it back. He was not allowed to mix along with other children because they were considered as higher castes, and he was a Shudra. But in the same way, Ambedkar faced a lot many problems. But he dared to make entry. He dared to start a movement. It was Ambedkar who started a social movement in favor of the Dalit. In the year 1930, there was a temple in Nasik called the Kalaram temple. He gathered all the people together and all of them together entered the temple. It was against all opposition, but they reached their goal by entering the temple. In fact, it was Ambedkar who gave an example to the people because his also main duty was also to create awareness among the Dalits that they were being discriminated, they were being exploited. He said, the person who wears the shoes knows where the shoe pinches. It's something very, very true. The person whose shoe pinches only knows where it pinches. It's difficult to explain. And only Dalits knew the pain of discrimination. Since he had started the social movement, his next project was to use the water from the Mahad tank. There was a public tank known as the Mahad tank. This was banned from using for the Shudra. Hence, he got together with all the other Dalits, forced themselves to go near the Mahad tank and drink water from this public tank. And this started the struggle against discrimination. In fact, to attain social equality, this became a stepping stone. Next, Lack of awareness. The Dalits suffered due to lack of education. The Dalits were denied education. Dalits were not allowed to go to study to the schools. In fact, they were not even aware that they are being exploited by the richer class, by the capitalists. And this due to lack of education. Because people were unaware, because people were not educated, the atrocities on the people was more. And to create awareness, in the year 1920, Ambedkar started a newspaper called Moka Nayaka. And this paper's goal was to achieve what we call create awareness amongst the people. In 1924, he started another group. He called it as the Bahishkrit Hitakarini Sabha. In this, they provided education to the Dalits, and this Sabha also provided free hostels for the Dalits. In 1972, the Dalit Panther movement was started. In 1974, Dalit Sangharsh Committee started in Karnataka by Professor B. Krishnappa. And this Samiti laid a foundation so that awareness could be created amongst the people. The last cause was the political backwardness. The Dalits come from a lower rank of Indian society. They were not allowed to participate in the political activities or in the decision making. People were not allowed to participate in the elections. The Dalits were kept away from elections. I would like to give you an example which we learnt in the first chapter of your second PUC syllabus. After the Simon Commission, Ambedkar had asked for a separate electorate. A white paper was made which provided for a separate electorate for the depressed classes. Gandhiji called these depressed classes as the Harijans, but he opposed this idea of a separate electorate for the depressed classes. Gandhiji thought that if they are given a separate class or a separate electorate, then the Indian society will be divided. So he went on fast unto death. Later on, this difference between Ambedkar and Gandhiji had to end because though Ambedkar requested Gandhiji to stop the fast unto death, it was not possible. So they came to an agreement, and this was called as the Pune Pact. In this Pune Pact, instead of giving a separate electorate to the people, they were given reservations. So reservations were made for the Dalits. The Dalits also should get political rights. And to come out of all these, they have to organize, they had to agitate and protest.